Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted to be joined by Raah and Elliott. This is a final predictions video for the big fight happening on Saturday night in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Unified cruiserweight title clash between ZURDO Ramirez and Billam-Smith. Guys, thanks very much for jumping on with me. If you're watching this video, please do hit that subscribe button, hit the like on this video, drop in the comments your thoughts on what we're about to discuss, which is, of course, our final predictions and thoughts on this fight. Raah, as our special guest, I'll come to you first and foremost. What is your final prediction as Gilberto ZURDO Ramirez and Billam-Smith put their WBA and WBO World Cruiserweight titles on the line? Where's your head at? How's this one going?
Well, you know what? At first, I thought good strategic move by Billam-Smith, but then I watched the Gullamirian fight back, which I did watch it live, and I was more surprised that he actually won. And you know what? I think ZURDO is a lot better than I thought he was. I always thought he's just your classic weight bully when he was down at super middleweight. Was never particularly impressive, despite his size advantage in the 5 world title defenses he had. I even thought he got away with it against Jesse Hart, I think, the second time. Up at light heavy, got run out of the division quite comprehensively by Bivol. And I thought, well, yeah, you're finally going to find your limitations at cruiserweight when you no longer have the size advantage. But he shows he's got boxing ability against Gullamirian. And good boxing ability. So, yeah, I actually think Chris, yes, he's made the most of his abilities, but they're probably limited somewhat. And I think he might have made a mistake here in going for what was seemingly the easier option in ZURDO over Opetaya. I know Tunde Ajayi on the TalkSport show, he said something which a lot of people were surprised by, but he said that he thought Opetaya might have been stylistically the better fight for Chris Billam rather than ZURDO, which I thought was interesting. Opetaya has more dangerous physical attributes, but I think Tunde might be right. So I think it's going to be a very closely fought competitive fight. But it being Latinos night, I think the judges are gonna favor ZURDO. I'm gonna go with ZURDO on a probably split decision.
Oh, he's called the split decision. No sitting on the fence, but yeah, split decision, fair play. If that comes in, you could probably put money on that now, by the way, Raah, just because if that comes in and you haven't put money on it, you'll kick yourself. Um, yeah, interesting. You mentioned Gullamirian, that Gullamirian fight. Gullamirian. The only thing I would say is that yes, he did look good, and I know Elliott, you and I have kind of discussed ZURDO having a bit of a padded record. Um, but Gullamirian very inactive. Had what, like 2 fights in 5 years or something ridiculous like that. And ZURDO did take a lot. He took a few big shots. Gullamirian hits harder than Billam-Smith, I think most people would say, and he just kind of took his best shots. So is that eliminating the Billam-Smith stoppage? Potentially, potentially. But I'm not going to be gracious. I'm going to come to you next, Elliott, and ask for your final predictions. Are you agreeing with Raah here and going with ZURDO to win a tight points decision, or are you saying it in favour of the Englishman?
You know what? We did the preview show, didn't we? So we obviously put our prediction on that one where I went with Billam-Smith. And, I've been called many things on this channel, but a turncoat's often not one of them. But Raah was so eloquent and articulate there that actually I've started to think maybe, and as the fight is narrowed, I've actually started to think that maybe my, sort of favouring of Billam-Smith on points might be a bit misguided. The reason I'm saying that is that I think CBS obviously peaking at the right time. We've seen obviously recently he's got some sort of marquee wins in fights where he wasn't the favourite. Obviously that Akoli one sort of stands out as well, but even Riakporhe, Riakporhe wasn't necessarily as impressive as kind of expected him to be. He still got the victory there. And as I said, another thing, I think every time I've seen ZURDO, to be honest with you, I agree with Raah what you're saying about being a weight bully. I've never been impressed with him really. I've always seen him as being quite slow, but I've got a sense, that Billam-Smith can also fight on the inside, good conditions. So I agree with Raah. This will go 12 rounds. I think as well. So I'm going to go. It'll be a close fight again. To be honest with you, I'm going to go. I'm going to stick just for the possibly for the sake of contention. But I'm going to stick with CBS on points. But I do think actually I'm a lot less confident about that than I was previously, to be honest with you. But I'm just going to narrowly go with that victory. Maybe not split decision. I'm not as bold as Raah in that respect. I'm going to go with CBS points.
Thought Raah convinced you to go the other way there. To be honest, Elliott, I thought
Nearly
you were
sweet
about to
talk
say
me.
that you changed your mind, but yeah, interesting. One apiece. So I suppose I've got the cast and vote. Brilliant. I think taking all of your points on board and kind of just generally what I think of both fighters is I've written off Chris Billam-Smith like 5 times. I'm pretty sure I've said I think he's going to lose. Thought he was going to lose to Tommy McCarthy the first time. Thought he was going to lose to Tommy McCarthy the second time. Thought he was going to lose to Isaac Chamberlain. Thought he was going to lose to Reactor the second time. And thought he was going to lose to Lawrence Okoli. And he won every single one. So I'm not writing him off anymore. I'm backing Chris Billam-Smith to win this. I'm sticking with what I've said. I'm going CBS points here as well. I think his work rate will be the key here. I think you never know, I suppose, but part of me just thinks he might want it more. He's able to bite that bit more down on his gum shield than ZURDO Ramirez. Kind of when the going gets tough, I think Chris Billam-Smith, you know he wants to fight fire with fire. He'll be in there throwing punches right to the end. Conditioning wise as well, I think we're seeing in stages he does look tired, but then he seems to get this second wind and he just keeps going right to the final bell. And I think that the intricacies of him, I think he's probably more of a basic fighter than a lot of the other world champions, and maybe even a more basic fighter in terms of skill set than ZURDO Ramirez. But I just think that a couple of wee nuances in his skill set that maybe kind of get overlooked. And I do believe that he will beat ZURDO Ramirez. I haven't been overly impressed with ZURDO either. But yeah, I'm going with Chris Billam-Smith to become the new unified world cruiserweight champion. Just before we finish, and we've got no time at all, but I just kind of want to ask, do you think we'll see an undisputed fight between the winner of this and, I don't know, say all the Jai Opetaia gets the other belt and off Noel Malikdom and something like that? Do you think we'll see an undisputed champion in cruiserweight? And could it be either of these two? I'll go Raah. Could it be, because you picked ZURDO, could ZURDO become the undisputed champion in the not so distant future?
No, I think the politics will stop that last WBC belt from being brought into the fold. There's an almighty mess. I know Rosicky and Peralta fighting for the interim. Yeah, we don't know what's happened with Mikalian. He's under Don King, so yeah. No, I don't think either of these guys will be undisputed.
Elliott, is the mighty CBS going to be the undisputed king of cruiserweight?
Absolutely not. I think he might fight for it possibly, but I think I don't see it beating Jeff. Despite what Tunde may say, I think that'd be a level too much, to be honest, for Chris Billam-Smith.
Yeah, can't disagree. I don't think either man, the winner of this fight, whoever goes on to win this fight and become unified champion, not going undisputed for me either. That's all we've got time for, unfortunately, chaps. Appreciate you jumping on with me. And yeah, really looking forward to this fight on Saturday night between Chris Billam-Smith and ZURDO Ramirez. Let us know in the comments your thoughts on the fight, how you see this one playing out. Drop us a like in the video and subscribe to the channel. Elliott, Raah, thanks very much for your time, and I'll speak to you again very soon.